Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Seatbelts, everyone. Those were the days is boarding the magic school bus to go on a podcasting adventure. That's right. This whole bus is going to turn into a pair of headphones, and we're going to journey through the internet, tubes, all the way to your ears. And maybe not go in the ears, but maybe we do. Either way, we know we're going to endanger some children while we're here. And I am joined by the wonderful cast of the show. One school superintendent and safety officer, Travis.
All right, Mrs. Frizzle, we've had several complaints about your method of teaching, but all of them seem to center around having a lizard just running loose on the school grounds. We can't have that. So, look, if you could just keep it in the cage, please, we'd be appreciative. Thank you.
And you can totally tell what the theme of the show is based on her dress, Amy.
The thing about watching these kids shows as an adult when you haven't seen them in 30 years is you go, hang on, Lily Tomlin? What?
Yes, that is right, Lily Tomlin. I had forgotten as well
Yeah.
that was her. This was her jam. Like she was the voice actor of Miss Frizzle. Everyone as a kid wants Miss Frizzle as their teacher. Why? I mean, I don't know that I want to get shrunk and sent into a human body and like potentially lost because the bacteria is trying to eat me. But I do want a cool teacher that's taking me on field trips like every day. What kind of school is this?
What parents are signing off on this?
Right. I don't think there's a permission slip anywhere.
Field trips, yes. Field trips where you could potentially be baked into a pie, not so much.
Not something that you're real excited about when you go to school. Like, I know I would be one of those, the kids like, wait, are we going on a field trip? I need to be made aware. I need to make sure I have some Dramamine for however we're going to be driving this bus. But yeah.
When I was in elementary school, we went on a field trip to a taxidermist, but there was no threat of us being taxidermied while we were there. So, like, that's...
So here's my question, right? Because when you're growing up, there is the place that is the field trip that everyone that goes to school where you live goes. What was your field trip that everybody goes to?
Well, that's a good question. Travis, you go first.
I mean the big field trip type thing that we did, or something
like the
where
one that
I live.
Universally, anyone that grew up where you live, like where you grew up, you can say, did you go on a field trip too? And it is guaranteed to be a yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, there were a couple of those, but actually the one was the taxidermy, because it was this place that it was a dual field trip. It was a full day, and part of it was this place that did taxidermy and all that, and then there was also an apple orchard, and you got to see apple cider being made by an old school apple press.
That's great. For us, so I have to think real hard because I have to split this between kindergarten to 6th grade and 7th grade to graduation, because I went to 2 different school systems in 2 different states in those times. The first one, I don't remember. I don't remember field trips that young. But the second one, everybody went to the exhibition coal mine because I lived in the Appalachians, and there was a place, a touristy kind of place called the Exhibition Coal Mine. You get in a little car and you ride through a coal mine, and they tell you about like they couldn't stand up past their hips, and like this is where I learned about the canary in the coal mine from that field trip, and everybody went there. Yeah. How about you, Amy? What was your place?
Here we do the Freedom Trail.
Oh,
that is what we do. And then if you're a North Shore kid, you go to Salem, Massachusetts, and if you're a South Shore kid, you go to Plymouth Plantation.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
see,
that's very cool. And
and
I realize now what mine should and was Mackinac Island in Lake Huron, which is between the lower and upper peninsula, and Fort Michilimackinac, an old like Civil War era fur trapper type fort. That
Nice.
was the thing everybody did.
Yeah.
You'd take the day, you'd go up, and then you had to take a ferry out to the island, and there were no cars on the island. There's one motorized vehicle on the entirety of the island, and it's a fire truck.
All right.
And everything else, you go and you see the old fort, and you ride horses and bikes and stuff around. And that's like everyone from this area goes there at some point during school.
What year
That's the
was the
one.
fire truck? Like
I don't know. They change it.
1890. They got it over there once, and they're just like, that's it.
Yeah, it's just gonna stay there.
It just runs. It
I think-
runs off of kerosene.
Basically, yeah.
That's amazing. No, that's super cool. That was a good. That's a good question, because if there's anything that Magic School Bus is about, some of it's education, but others is just super cool field trips. This show, I'm gonna admit, like, it's not the show that I first thought of doing for educational shows, because I didn't realize in the back brain that this was educational, because it's always been so much fun, like it's always been a great show till you guys started throwing out shows. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I could wait. A Magic School Bus, duh, that's on Netflix, everybody can watch it, and it's educational for sure. And I immediately thought of this episode about the frictionless baseball field, because this is the episode that taught me everything I know about friction.
This was my level of physics knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at a lot of things, but this is about where I draw the line on physics. I go, yes,
Yeah,
got it.
if you push a force, it goes until it meets some resistance. I learned everything. Like, I remember being so fascinated. All I wanted to do was play baseball on a frictionless baseball field. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if you just would slide forever, till the end.
Well, and given their knowledge of baseball in the show, playing on a frictionless field makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah,
because
sure.
Yeah.
It's kids playing some form of baseball anyway. But to kick it off, before we get too far into the plot of this wonderful episode, I want to know how you guys, what was your memories of Magic School Bus? Of course, do you have any? And did you have any particular episodes that stood out that you would have thought, oh man, if we're doing Magic School Bus, we should do this one? Amy, how about you?
I definitely did watch Magic School Bus. I don't remember the kids being quite so irritating, but I'm middle-aged now, so here we are. I think the only one that I really clearly remember is like the shrink down, go in the body one.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's the only one that really, I think, stuck with me in any meaningful way. But I was also like a very into biology person. So there's that too. Like, I took AP Bio in high school for fun. So, that might have contributed. But that's like the only thing that I really remember. I definitely would have been, is it Arnold? Is he the one that's like afraid all the time?
Yes,
Yeah.
Arnold, yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah,
from
that would have been me in real, like, I don't, no, thank you. I will observe your antics from afar, but I'm good on this one.
Yeah, I agree. If this was real life, I would be Arnold. I'd be like, my mom says I can't go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Miss Frizzle, I have to stay.
I think I have to go to the nurse.
Yeah, I can't go on this crazy. I've been almost killed too many times by your crazy bus. I'm done.
Yep.
Travis, how about you?
So my first episode of the Magic School Bus ever was today, watching
Wow.
this. I did not watch it growing up. It came about, so I would have been 12, 13 when it started.
Yeah, my
Um,
sister would have been littler, so I think that's how I
Yeah, and
snuck in.
my younger sister wasn't really into it at the time that I remember. And I think even if she had been, I wouldn't have really cared. But I had kind of just, I don't want to say moved on from shows, but this was just one that slipped past. Like, I was just a little bit older than the target demo for it, so I never really got into it. I knew of it. I knew, the school. I knew like the whole shrinking down and going in and like that kind of stuff, but I just never really watched it at all.
Yeah, that I understand that. For me, it was right on that borderline. I think I was in 4th or 5th grade, it's like 9 or 10, when it was big, and that was right at the peak of when you'd be watching a cartoon for education. And by the way, Audie's not here with us. I'm not ignoring Audie, audio listeners. Like, if you're like, why isn't Steven asking Audie any questions? It's so inconsiderate. Well, it's because Audie couldn't be
Well,
with us.
we went on a field trip, and we didn't all make it back.
Right? Yeah, we lost Audie somewhere. The Magic School Bus just
He's
dumped
really
him
into
out.
photosynthesis right now. And
Yeah, sorry
Fine.
about that, Audie. But yeah, it was right on the cusp of when I would be like almost out of it. And I think my sister was younger than me. She's 6 years younger than me. I don't know if she was into it or if I just happened to see it on PBS one day. But the 2 episodes I remember was the body episode. I think everybody remembers that.
yeah,
There's something fascinating about going inside the human body. Like, why we haven't seen a recreation of Fantastic Voyage, I don't know. Like, that movie deserves a remake.
yeah.
It'd be cool. I think it'd be neat to see that. But whatever, Hollywood.
Although I think around the time that episode came out, somebody probably showed me the movie Inner Space, and that's what I watched instead.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. I've never seen Inner Space. I've heard of it. That's Martin Short, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, gonna have to
just
add that.
making a note of that real quick.
Yes,
write that
please
down real
do.
quick,
I
yeah.
haven't seen that, Travis. I
Wait,
haven't
wait.
seen
You
that
haven't
before.
seen?
Yeah, wait.
Sorry, I was not on the ball on that
Was
one.
good. Wait, you haven't, so I haven't seen it. But this episode in particular is one of my favorites, and I said it earlier that I learned everything I know about how friction works from watching the Magic School Bus, and it blew my mind. And I was super excited to get back to this episode, and I have to say it kind of lived up to my expectations. I found myself chuckling to the point where my wife laughed at me from the kitchen because she was doing something. She was like, "You're just enjoying yourself so much in there," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I'm having a really good time, and I'm not ashamed of it. This is really great." So we start off the whole episode with these spicy children. I don't remember them being so like,
So spicy.
"I'm gonna get you, like I'm gonna crush you." I mean, they were like, I don't know their names. I wish I did. And I
Yeah.
tried to look it up, but all I see is like the different their different names and their archetype. Because this was very Captain Planetish, you know. You had everybody
Yeah.
represented, which is great. But I'm like looking at the list of names. I'm like, wait, it tells you who's the overthinker and who's the adventurer. But like, you could name them by ethnicity, and I'd be able to tell you who was who. But I can't. But anyway, all I know right off the bat is Ralphie because they yelled at him multiple times.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's obnoxious. Like Ralphie needs to be taken down a step. You know, somebody needs to go in there.
Ralphie borrowed my book
And
to
put it in
use
the
as-
dirt.
as home plate.
Yeah, I would eat it.
Yeah.
Again, look, I got annoyed right away by Ralphie, but not because of that. It was because he claimed to be a baseball fan and yet talked about sliding into home during his home run,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that bothered me because you don't do that. You hit a home run, you
No,
just
but
trot
when you're-
across.
Yeah, but when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you slide into every
All the time.
like my
Oh, no.
nephews.
No,
my
no, no.
nephews. No, my nephews played in Little League, and it was just sliding all of the time.
Yeah, whether
Like-
you need to, you're probably gonna come
Yeah.
up short trying to slide.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You slide all the
good.
time because you
Mhm.
saw one guy do it one time,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna do it like slide the second, first,
Yeah. Yeah.
third, home,
All the time.
wherever. Slide into the dugout. You're just gonna be sliding.
Ground rule double slide. Just
Yeah.
do it.
You're out there in the outfield sliding to catch the ball. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
how it works. But yes, you're right. You casually trot over home plate when you hit a home run. That's the way it works.
Which then I would be upset because he's stepping on the book. So
Mhm.
Yeah, this really bothered me a lot. Dorothy Ann is the one who has the book,
Yeah.
which I would like to get from the library. It's called A Child's Garden of Physics. It sounds like a great book to me. Like,
Sure.
I mean, it probably teaches better than college physics books. I'm sure it buries a lot of the detailed information, but hey, if you
The numbers.
yeah,
Right.
it leaves out all the numbers. By the way, if you watch this episode, you'll see that the book is actually filled with complete gibberish. There is no
Yeah.
actual word in this book. The animators just went, I don't know. I'm just gonna put letters. No one cares.
Lorem
Yeah.
Ipsum all the way, baby.
Or maybe it's encryption. Maybe Dorothy Ann is the only one that can read it. You know,
Mm,
I don't think so.
could be. She's a
Just-
sleeper agent.
Yeah, she can read it. She has no idea it's encrypted though. It's like a mind. Her mind's been warped. She's like, "What? You guys can't read this? This is what's."
She can't see the code. She
Right.
doesn't see the code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful mind, just happening right there on the show. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of fussing over physics. Dorothy Ann's me. I read this cool thing. Let me tell you about it. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, "That's so interesting. Can I borrow your book?" And then they go use it as home plate. Miss Frizzle gets all excited about this physics thing. So of course, what does she do? She tells the school bus, who has eyes and a mouth and stuff, "Hey,
Which
we're
I
about."
forgot.
You forgot that.
Like,
it
I
had
mean,
eyes and a
you'd
mouth?
think from the title I would have, remembered that part.
All right. Is it me or is the school bus like the mute cousin of Benny the Cab from Who
Yeah.
Framed Roger
Dude.
Rabbit?
Yeah.
Yes, they are definitely.
I was
friends.
working on an intro involving Benny the Cab or their other cousin Morty the garbage truck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was
What
a
about
was a
Herbie the
character I
Love
was
Bug?
developing.
Is this a
He's a
is this
distant cousin. They don't talk about
vast
Herbie.
cinematic universe?
Yeah, he's 3D.
But no, I definitely got like Benny the Cab vibes from the face that they had on the Magic
Yeah,
School
you're right.
Bus.
That's a
He just
good
doesn't
point.
talk.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, Benny the Cab talks all the time.
Whether you want him to or not.
Right. Hey, Roger. But the Magic School Bus, no, he's very quiet, but he can do magical things. And it's hard to tell where we're gonna go initially. Like you just like get on the bus, kids, and it's, oh no, here we go, Miss Frizzle. By the way, what school where is this a private? There's like only 7 kids in her class.
Yeah.
Or 8. I don't remember how many. But that seems like a really small class to be going on and just randomly going on field trips all the time. This school's got some money, or maybe nobody knows.
Clearly.
Maybe, is she just a tutor that maybe works out of this school? Are there kids who are being left out of Miss Frizzle's class? And they're like, "Would you hear Miss Frizzle's class went inside a kid yesterday? Why don't we ever get to do that?" Other teachers are like, "Because it's illegal. She's gonna get caught, kids."
This is the show I want to see. Is the rest of the school? Did you guys, when you were growing up, did you guys read Sideways Stories from Wayside School?
My favorite book series as a kid.
Because that
ever.
I
just came to me.
Definitely remember those.
I just read
A
them to
favorite
my
of the
son.
Scholastic Book Fair.
Yes, me and my son read through all the books like a few months ago, and the first book had us both in stitches. We just couldn't handle it. It was just the funniest junk I've ever read. The kid who can't do math. Look out there in listener land. If you want to read anything, please Sideways Stories from Wayside School.
Wayside School.
Because the blueprint had the school really long in like ranch style, but the builders accidentally turned the blueprint the wrong way, so it ends up being a huge tower. There's 18 floors, or there's no 13th floor or something right there.
Right.
Yeah, there's no 13th
Right.
floor. But there's a teacher who teaches on 13th floor, but there's no 13th floor.
Yeah.
It's
No, of course.
fascinating. Just, I don't care if you're 50 years old, read that book and you will find joy in it. So yeah, but this isn't recommend book time. This is talk about a cartoon based on a book time. Which you might forget, Magic School Bus was a book series. It was
That's
turned into
right.
a cartoon. Yeah. I had almost forgot that, and then I remembered. I think I originally read the books of this before the show came out. But like all great scholastic books, they turn into cartoons. You know, that's how it works. But yeah, so they get on the bus, and then where are we going? We're going to shrink down onto the book that's on the floor or on the ground at home plate, to go play some frictionless baseball. And I love that we go down, the shrink down, and then we drive the bus to turn the pages to get to where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of friction, it's all over the place in this episode, how it works. Sort of, and there are places I thought they were going to go that they didn't go. But we'll start here at the frictionless baseball field. And by the way, all the kids' clothes change along with the bus and everything else. They all had baseball outfits on, once they got to the book. And I don't know where in this book they've put this frictionless field, but for some reason there's now a frictionless baseball field.
It was page 96.
Oh, good, you remembered.
Yeah.
All right, Amy gets an A+. Miss Frizzle's gonna give you a lollipop for succeeding. But we get into the baseball field, and it's like this sunken into the book, and it just looks like a sheet of glass, kind of, with like vague baseball field looking attributes. Ralphie, he decides he's gonna just go hauling butt onto the field and just slip slides all over the place, and he's never gonna stop. You know,
He was never heard from again.
no, he's never
keeps
heard from.
Bouncing off each wall.
Yeah.
forever, because there's nothing really to stop him, and that's where we get all kinds of lessons from this thing. When they just start going around, we learn about force, we learn about equal and opposite reactions, and the fun thing, like, this is an educational theme for the month, so we get to talk about this. The fun thing about the whole deal is you don't really realize you're learning. Like, I think that's the key to any educational programming, is you don't really know you're learning. I wanted to play on a frictionless baseball field, but what I was learning about was all kinds of important information about how things stop, how things go, how things oppose each other, how when you throw a baseball and there's nothing to resist your throw, you're going to go backwards in the same force that you threw the thing, because you're opposing forces, right? It's like putting your foot on a door and trying to open it. You can't do that. Have you tried? Probably. You know, if you had to admit it, you've done that before. You're like, oh, wait,
Definitely.
this isn't going to work. But it was cool to see that. Like, when they finally started actually playing a baseball game, and the pitcher pitched the bubblegum ball, by the way, which was like, that's the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
She spit her gum out, put it on the ball, and then, like, it stuck to her hand. I don't do bubblegum outside the mouth.
No.
It's just, like, even
It's not
blowing
good.
bubbles, like, after bubble has been blown, I don't want it back in my mouth. It's touched air.
At that point, it's tainted and can no longer. It's just got to blow one bubble and then just spit it out.
Spit it out. It has touched the air and it no longer tastes good. Like, I've seen people with the hole around their finger and back it. No,
Oh, no.
no, just
No.
I hate it so much. I can't handle it.
You would have lost it then. I had a friend in high school who would chew gum all the time and sit down at lunch and take the gum, put it on the lunch tray, eat lunch,
No.
Oh,
and then pick up the gum off the tray to go back to class.
oh gosh.
With the theory that, like, well, the trays get washed constantly,
Sure.
so it's clean,
Right.
and I'm not done with my gum. So yeah, you wouldn't have liked that.
But it's like hard plastic after that. Like, it's been sitting there. It's like trying to chew a marble just to get it rubbery again. It's not. Your friend is wrong.
This
sorry.
is not, the financial that is at work here is like not worth it, man. You're not, your cost
Listen,
savings are just not there.
Yeah, it's not
It was
working.
the 90s. It was a different time. Okay.
Used to put the bubble gum behind his ear to play hacky sack so he wouldn't choke. Hacky sack. Yeah,
You had to run him. You had to get somebody to run the hacky sack over with a car to break up the beans.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's important. See,
Oh, yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
I got my kid a hacky sack from the arcade after he got a bunch of tickets. He's like, "What is this thing?" I was like, "Sit down, boy. I'll tell you a tale of the early to mid 90s."
Oh,
We didn't
boy.
have all-day video game sessions. We kicked this thing around. That was good.
We
Good
didn't
time.
have cell phones.
We
This
didn't have
is
cell
what we
phones.
did.
We had a lot of. I think we were more creative because we didn't have cell phones. We came up with kicking balls around and stuff. It was great. But yeah, so we play some baseball. The kids play some baseball, and there are a few things I learned about this. One of the most important things is Miss Frizzle doesn't give a flip about these children and their conflict. Like, not a darn care is given related to these children and what they're going through. People are arguing everywhere, fussing, and Miss Frizzle's like, "Hello, children, let's do something magical." And I think there's something good about that. You let the
Yeah.
kids resolve their own conflict. You know, they
Yeah.
why am I getting in
They'll
their
be
business?
fine.
I do that all the time. I love watching kids fight and then they come yell at me, "Dad, somebody took the thing." And I'm like, I don't care. Solve. I did that to the kids out in the front yard once. Sam was playing with his friends, and one of the kids was fussing. They won't throw the ball to me. I don't know what's going. They threw the ball somewhere else. I'm like, I don't care. So I was working on something at the time. I was like, resolve this. Just handle it. One of the kids was high maintenance, and I just couldn't. I couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just
Yeah.
resolve your issue. Just go. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Miss Frizzle's school of child handling is kind of where I like to be. It's a good
Yeah.
place.
Anybody bleeding? No,
No.
everything's great. Don't
Yeah.
even worry about it.
Did you fall? Are you good? No? All
All
right, you will be in a minute. Just take a deep breath. I also learned that the best way to deflate a magic blimp is to poke it with a pin. That I thought out of all the buttons on a magic school bus you should have, one of them should be deflate magic blimp.
Yeah.
But no.
No, that's actually a cartoon commandment. Like it's one of the
Yeah.
cartoon 10 commandments. You cannot deflate a balloon
Okay.
of any kind without a pin.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So
You know, it's sort of like you can't, like if you walk off of a cliff, you won't fall until you realize there's no ground underneath you. You know,
Right.
these are laws of the cartoon world.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a law. That's really important.
Oh yeah.
It's good
Oh,
to
yeah.
know.
Mhm.
So Liz climbing out onto the blimp and poking it with a pin, endangering herself and everyone around her is the right way to go.
Correct.
Okay. Even when it's not a Tex Avery style cartoon, it's definitely actual human beings kind of cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the lizard was operating a school bus. I feel like we've crossed a line there.
Yeah.
Sure. So we learn all about how friction works and how you slide across things if you don't have any. There's no way of stopping. There's a really good baseball announcer segment in there. Who was it DA and Miss Frizzle who were telling the
I think
stories?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were talking about all the things that were going on the field, and it was just shenanigans. This is when I was enjoying myself the most because Ralphie swings at the ball and like spins like a Tasmanian devil forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. His eyeballs like are in the back of his head. He was pulling like 87 G's going around this circle. He's going up first base and then second base, and everybody just starts ping ponging off each other. And that's the point when I was telling Steph, I was in there laughing, and Stephanie's like, you're just having the best time watching this. Like, look at him go. Look at him
Just chaos.
just absolute
utter
chaos. I want to play baseball at an ice rink just after watching this, just to see what would happen.
It's the Mighty Mo hockey game. Like if you've ever watched little children play hockey, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
His body's going everywhere,
Just everywhere.
with no real direction.
Yeah.
So they get done with all that. They deflate the thing, and now they've got to get home. They get in the bus, and the book closed on them. How did the book close on them? I don't even remember that part.
Was it wind?
It looked like wind.
Wind closed the book on them. And then Miss Frizzle has clearly never taken any sort of driving course on how to get out of a stuck situation because she just guns it. I mean, this is the burnout to end all burnouts.
Theoretically, so the bus that can go inside like human cells, I feel like we could have just shrunk more until it wasn't a problem anymore.
Yeah.
There also was at one point, I forget what kid it was, but somebody was like, "Where are we?" And the kid said something about like, "Well, between pages 67 and 68 or 6, I forget." But it was like the way that they said the page numbers was not the way it would have been in a book, and I was like, I got upset about it. I was like, nope. Nope, that's not how that goes. That's not how pages work.
Or the bus could have grown back to normal size and just pushed the book open. Like, I'm pretty sure that it could have generated enough force to break the friction and move it. That was a physics lesson they were missing right there. Is what happened.
Matchbox set.
Yeah, but I mean, then you wouldn't have had the next lesson that we learned
Teamwork.
about teamwork and about you can't go if there's too much friction on top of your bus, and it got a little bit weird to me in this part. Things got a little funky because
Yeah.
if you're doing a burnout that long on a piece of paper, we could have learned that enough friction can cause fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is where I really thought we were going to go there for a second. But we can't have books get damaged in an educational cartoon.
No.
Yeah,
It's true.
That's probably
We've already
where
put
we're
it in
at.
the dirt. Like, we're
And-
already pretty far down.
Mhm.
And we had to have the interpersonal lesson of not only can you not move when there's too much friction with the book on top of you, but there was too much friction between Ralphie and Dorothy Ann.
Yes.
Did
we
like when
needed to-
Dorothy and when he like tried to swap jobs and she's like, just do your job. Like she's just done with him. And I love that an awful
Yeah.
lot. I was like, yes, just shut up and do your job.
I really felt that for her. I was like yes, he just needs to go. His job sucks, sure, but he's got to do it, and his team's got to do it. He was being a terrible leader for his team. Ralphie,
Yeah.
you're a slacker, and you're amounting to nothing with this kind of attitude. But again, where's Miss Frizzle in resolving this conflict? Nowhere at
She
all.
was in there standing on the accelerator.
Yeah, she's, like really hitting it too and having a blast.
Yeah.
She just like she had her face all contorted. She's,
Oh yeah.
she's nailing it. By the way, this gas pedal, super cool, shaped like a foot.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I don't think why aren't more gas pedals shaped like feet?
You can get them.
Well, then I'll maybe I'll think about
Get
it.
one for the truck.
I
Yeah.
get one for the truck. It'll make me so much cooler. But yeah, so they're trying to resolve this problem. They have to come up with a way to get the bus out from in between the sides of the book, and they're like, "Oh no, it's stuck because friction." They're like, yeah, they come up with this like weird plan where half the class is gonna get on top of the bus and lift the book, and the letters on the pages can come off.
Surprise.
Never seen that
Yeah,
before. This seems like someone in the writer's room just going, "It's a cartoon. We can do anything we want."
Yeah.
But I have trouble
Or
with this kind of
just
abstract
eating-
thinking. Oh, go ahead,
They
Travis.
had just eaten some magic mushrooms and wandered into the writer's room like, I
Yeah.
got a brilliant
That's
idea.
so
All right.
Listen.
The letters can come off the paper. And somebody goes, "That's not how books work." No one cares. It's a children's cartoon. We can do anything we want. Like, it just seemed like one of those silly things that only a 7 or 8-year-old could really come up with. Because as grown-ups, we tend to be locked into what is physically possible rather than being this out there. But anyway.
I mean, if at any point we had had something similar happen, right? I would go, all
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Like if
Yeah.
we'd picked up like, because in the book there was like a diagram of like a baseball bat flying through the air. Like if we'd picked up the bat from the illustration, I'd have gone, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
in it now.
But just the
Right.
letters.
But
Just
no, it's
and
just,
only red letters for some reason.
Right.
All the black letters didn't move, but the red letters you could peel up off the paper
so
and stack them in the corner like a wedge.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
right. This is the other part that I don't know that physics really stretched as far as it should in this object lesson. Because, like, I don't think it's just them lifting the paper a little and people just wedging sticks
yeah.
into the seam. You're still real top heavy on this hardcover book. Like, it would take a lot of. They'd have to pack that full.
Yeah.
And it couldn't just be in like one corner. It'd have to be down like a whole
The
spine.
whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yep.
and I don't know that any of that should have worked. I really like the idea of the book catching fire. And two, Miss Frizzle's tires are 4 inches into that book after burning it out that long.
Oh, yeah.
She
Yeah,
has
you're never
just
getting out now.
shredded that paper. It is way down there. Because if you've been stuck in the mud before, that's how it works. Look, have you seen my cousin Vinny? She needs she needs the pause traction. She's gonna get out of there. All that stuff. I don't know if Magic School Bus
Oh, yeah.
has that. Limited slip differential. Getting into it here. Magic School Bus can be anything it wants, as we said earlier, but getting out of a book is gonna take lots of teamwork. So anyway, we get to the end of the thing. They all get out of there and they're playing their wonderful baseball game. Where's Ralphie? Ralphie, where'd you go? Ralphie's got the book. He's learning about physics over on the bleachers, which I thought was funny because Ralphie stole home. So they're still using it as their home plate. And I was like, it's a good one. I see what you did there, Magic School Bus people. And then we end the show on a pun. I didn't write down the pun, but you always have to end a cartoon like this with a pun.
Yeah.
And and then we get that thing at the end. I forgot all about.
I forgot about the thing at the end, and then I was like, "Is that Malcolm Jamal Warner?" Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
The producer of the Magic School Bus, who was also animated. So he gets
and Liz, and so then like Liz is actually like still a more or less sentient lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
So
this is a documentary series,
right?
Yes,
excellent.
exactly.
Excellent.
Is Miss Frizzle real? I don't even know.
Apparently,
maybe she is. Yeah. But he goes through naming stuff. They start talking about places there where there's friction, like ice skating rink and sledding and stuff. And I got this question because I don't know how to look at this. Maybe y'all can help me, or the people out there in listener land. Maybe you have some understanding. They said snow skiing, obviously less friction when you snow ski, and water skiing. But is water skiing less friction or more friction?
Well, it is more friction until you get up on plane, and then it's less friction, much like a boat moving is.
Is that how it works? Because I was thinking, I'm like, you got to have the friction. That's what puts you on top of the water, because that's what causes the surface tension, and then you're up. But then when you're going, so it's less when you're going.
Yeah, it's less once you get going, and then when you stop and you lose that momentum, the friction takes over and slows you back down.
Slows you back down. Okay. Well, that helped me because that was the only thing I walked out of here with questions about. I was willing to accept every other thing we saw today, but that one threw me. I'm like, I gotta pose this question.
And also, of course, they had to mention the ancient art of log rolling that every kid does.
Yes.
which is like not a low friction. Like that's simple machines. That's not a low friction situation. That's about the simple machine of a wheel. Like that's a different episode.
We got it. We're using up too much content here. We could talk about all these other things in different episodes. Which there are apparently only 13 episodes of this show. At least on Netflix.
No,
I think there's
there
more.
were...
There's just only one season on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
There's like 50 episodes total, I think.
Oh, good. Okay, because I knew there had to be more than just what they showed on Netflix. It's like, no, there's more. Well, that's good. That's good to know. And the new Magic School Bus, if you really want to get into more of it, the new episodes are pretty great because they came out with a new series starring Kate McKinnon plays Miss Frizzle.
Nice.
Like a new Miss Frizzle. I think Miss Frizzle is still there because they have a thing at the end with Lily Tomlin. Miss Frizzle talks to Kate McKinnon's Miss Frizzle.
Yeah, I think it's like Miss Frizzle's daughter, I think.
Yeah.
They don't really tell you that until later. It's not real obvious until she calls her mom and it's Lily Tomlin, Miss Frizzle. You're like, holy cow. And so all the adults in the room can go, oh, that's amazing. There was talk too of a live action Magic School Bus at one point, but I don't know if that's still in the cards or not. But I'd go see it,
Yeah.
If you can go watch Transformers, you can go watch Magic School Bus. Basically,
there's your Fantastic Voyage remake is the Magic School Bus.
Yes, I would watch the Fantastic Voyage Magic School Bus edition. That'd be fine. But yeah, this was a fun trip down memory lane for me. I had a good time watching the show. It was fun to see just kind of old crusty animation, but good animation.
Yeah.
It had its moments, like the complete carefree text inside the book where it's just, let's just draw some. I'm just going to put letters in here. I'm not even going to write words. No one cares. This is fine. But it's for you guys. Travis, you've never seen this show before.
I had not. I remember the books. I remember seeing the books a lot. I might have even read one or two of them. I'm not sure, but I had never watched the show. like I say, I knew of it. I knew the premise. I knew kind of the basics, but I can absolutely see why this was so popular for so many people of that age, because it is like any good kids educational show. It's teaching you stuff without you realizing you're getting taught things. That's what made Square One work so well, was learning math in a way that I didn't realize I was learning math, because it wasn't school. But this had the mixture of, this made school fun because they're on a school bus, they're with their teacher, but then also it was goofy and out there and crazy and had full of lessons. It's really, really well done. I can see why this has been so popular and why there's a new version of it and all of that. I dug it. Probably not going to watch much more of it, but I could see, especially if I had kids, I could see watching this with them.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those shows, I think, when you have a kid and they want to watch something, you don't immediately recoil when they want to watch Magic School Bus. They're
Yes.
like, oh, okay, cool. I could sit through that. That's what
Sure,
actually it
sure.
is.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I was watching it with my son in the other room, and he wasn't interested because he's watched a bunch of them. But he was like, you're watching the Magic School Bus? I said, yeah. He said, that's a kid's show. And I was like, I'm doing shows that you want to watch with me? No. Okay. Of course, he'd been at school all day. I got to give him a break.
Yeah.
But Amy, what did you have any positive feelings coming back and watching this thing?
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. And like I said, I didn't remember them being quite so abrasive. But I mean, it was
That's the
fine.
90s-ish of it shown
Yeah.
through, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
it
how
really
kids were
is.
written back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, even in a
No, it
show
was
where
good though.
they it's for the kids, they write the kids more obnoxious than maybe they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are kids. They're gonna be
Mhm.
what they are, and I think this one was set up to create friction between Da
Right.
and Ralphie that's not typically there. Usually, in a lot of episodes, they're a lot more caring for each other. You know, when they went
Yeah.
inside Ralphie when he was sick during the Fantastic Voyage one, like they all went in to say they wanted to help Ralphie. You know, it wasn't this one. The friction bit played into the plot, so I think they were a little bit more obnoxious just because of that.
Yeah.
There's reason for it. The plot demanded it. Exactly. That's the best reason to do anything.
Yep.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching the show. I think it was pretty great. It was entertaining, and I would watch it again if my kid wanted to watch it. I think I'm in the same boat as you guys. The right audience and somebody wants to watch it, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
But we did have a little email Audie sent us that I wanted to read because he's not here with us because we left him, doing his thing
Yeah.
with the chlorophyll or whatever.
Photosynthesis, yeah.
It's a photosynthesis.
He's fine.
He's all right. He said, sorry I can't be with y'all tonight. Here's my thoughts on it, though. I missed the boat on the Magic School Bus when it first came around, just a bit after my time. I knew about it, just didn't watch it. Travis, a lot like you. Like a lot of stuff stuff like that, it came around for me when we had our boys. Heck, my youngest was asking why I was watching earlier today because he watches it now and then. Anywho, I dig it. Reminds me of the times of Muppet Babies, another show we'll get to someday, goes into a book or a movie but actually educates kids on something. I especially dig the ending call-in where they elaborate more on a subject or tell you the extra stuff they couldn't fit into the episode. Good stuff. That's all I got for now. Looking forward to Amy's pick in a couple weeks. TTFN Audie. So that's cool. So it was right in line with you, Travis. Just missed it, but is now enjoying it through the eyes of his children. So that's pretty great.
I've just remembered that this was about the time when, so it was like early, like the very beginning of high school, which is when we used to watch Blue's Clues. Like unironically, like we loved Blue's Clues, and so I feel like that probably plays into it.
It's probably true. Maybe we'll get to Blue's Clues one day, along with Muppet Babies. We can revisit educational TV.
Oh yeah,
there's so many
sure.
things we can hit. It's been really fun doing this. We do need to get a poll out for everybody. We don't have that because we always forget till the very last minute. But keep an eye on the Twitter at Those Days Show, and there will be a poll for you to contribute what you think we should do next time. But before we get to next theme, in a couple weeks, because we're not here next week, we've got Amy. Amy, where are you taking us?
Okay, so as soon as we did education, and then I was down to 2 shows, and then Travis picked Square One, and I was like, "Excellent, I don't have to decide." Um, and then I have picked Reading Rainbow,
Oh man.
an absolute favorite of mine.
Hmm.
Between this and my love of Star Trek: The Next Generation, LeVar Burton, one of my favorite people. Um, And so then I had to agonize over an episode, and there were several that I thought about doing. The Star Trek: The Next Generation episode, where you learn how TV shows are made, is an excellent one.
Hmm.
But I went with, depending on where you find it, it has a different season date. So it's either season 5 or 6. It's unknowable.
PBS is hard.
Episode 3, The Robbery at the Diamond Dog Diner. This episode, as we talked about when we did Mr. Rogers, this has a like a how it's made type video in it, and it has a song that I sing to myself every single time I make pasta.
Oh,
Some,
snap.
30 some odd years after seeing it the first time, I still sing this song in my head. The story is read by Peter Falk. And so it's a real good one. I'm very excited. So that's available on YouTube, but it's also available if you have the PBS Kids thing through, I think it's Amazon, right? I don't know. But it's around. So it's Robbery at the Diamond Dog Diner.
Oh, I am so
Excellent.
excited. I'm actually gonna. You made the job easier for me because you picked Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
So because I was between like a very special episode of Reading Rainbow and like a couple other things, I was like, well, there's one I don't have to mess with because I know
Yeah.
Amy's gonna take us there. So that's great. I'm super excited. I knew of LeVar
Hmm.
Burton only from Reading Rainbow because I wasn't a big Star Trek
That's
fan at
right.
the time. So that's who he was to me. But fantastic. So you can look forward to that in a couple weeks. Next week we will be off, so don't show up. Or show up. You can hang out together. We're not going to stop you from jumping in the channel. The
No.
chat's always open. If you do want to chat with us more, you can go to twodorks.net/discord and join the Discord. If you don't know what that is, it's a really cool chat app where you can jump in there and there's rooms and you can say hello and people are nice. It's a great little community. So be sure to do that. And email us at thosewerethedayshow@gmail.com with your comments about the Magic School Bus, or if you have comments or things to say about Reading Rainbow, you can always hit us up there. And go take it, take a field trip somewhere this weekend. That's what I want you to do. I want you to get in your Magic School Bus, minivan, whatever it is. Go to a water treatment plant. Take a tour. Who knows? It'll be great. You're going to have a wonderful time. But until next time, for me, for Amy, for Travis, and for Adi, who is not here, seatbelts, everyone. We'll see you next time. And we're done.
Aw, yeah.
We're done.